Welcome to the channel. Hit subscribe and dive into stories that'll stay with you long after the video ends. Let's begin. Sirens wailed outside the laundromat as if the night itself had been torn open. Jack froze mid-step, his hand hovering over a warm dryer door when he saw her, a girl curled behind the vending machine, shivering, clutching a torn silk scarf that didn't belong in a place like this. She looked up, eyes wide, haunted. "Please," she whispered, "don't let them find me." Jack didn't know who they were, but her voice carried the kind of fear that makes a person listen before asking questions. He lowered himself slowly, palms open. "Hey, it's okay," he said. "This is a quiet place, you're safe for now." But she shook her head hard. "No one's safe, not tonight." Thunder rolled outside, muffled by the hum of old machines. The laundromat lights flickered, and Jack noticed the dirt on her dress, the bruised scrape along her arm, the way she kept checking the glass doors like she expected shadows to burst through them. She wasn't homeless. She wasn't lost. Something else had driven her here. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated, breathing uneven. "Leela. Just Leela. No last name, no story, not yet." Jack pulled off his jacket and held it out. She flinched at first, then accepted it with trembling fingers. When she wrapped it around herself, something metallic clinked softly from her pocket. She pressed the jacket tighter, hiding it. Jack noticed. Before he could speak, brakes screeched outside. A black SUV rolled to a stop under the streetlight. Two men stepped out, dark coats, controlled movements, scanning the storefronts with purpose. Leela's breath caught. "They found me," she whispered. Jack felt his pulse spike. "Who are they?" She didn't answer. Instead, she edged deeper behind the vending machine, her whole body coiling as if ready to vanish into the walls. Jack watched her fight back tears, and something inside him hardened. Whatever this was, she wasn't lying about her fear. The men outside paced toward the laundromat door. Jack moved without thinking. He flipped off half the lights, grabbed an empty laundry cart and rolled it between the machines and the entrance, making the place look abandoned. Then he crouched beside her. "Listen," he murmured. "You need to tell me the truth. Are they dangerous?" She nodded. "Are they looking for you specifically?" Another nod. "Why?" Leela squeezed her eyes shut, her voice cracked. "Because I wasn't supposed to escape." The words hung in the warm, detergent-scented air. Jack felt a chill despite the dryer's blasting heat. Escape from where? From who? Outside, the men paused at the door, peering through the glass. Jack held his breath. Leela covered her mouth with both hands, shoulders shaking. A moment of stillness. Then one of the men reached for the door handle. Jack's heart hammered. He grabbed the nearest thing he could, an empty detergent bottle, and readied himself to improvise anything that might buy her time. Just as the door began to open, Leela whispered, barely audible, "They'll kill us both if they see me." Jack swallowed hard, feeling the weight of a choice he hadn't prepared for pressing into his ribs. Outside, a voice called out, sharp and impatient. Inside, the machines kept spinning, unaware that two strangers were about to decide each other's fate in the fluorescent dark that night. The SUV's engine faded into the storm, but its absence didn't ease the pressure in the room. The laundromat felt smaller now, as if the machines themselves were holding their breath. Leela didn't move at first. She sat curled against the vending machine, staring at the glass doors long after the men had vanished. Jack approached slowly, palms out again, the way someone might approach a frightened animal. "They're gone," he said. A small pause for now. Leela blinked, but the fear didn't loosen its grip. She swallowed hard, then stood on unsteady legs. The jacket hung from her shoulders in a way that made her look even smaller. "You didn't have to help me," she murmured. Jack gave a faint, exhausted laugh. "It didn't look like I had much of a choice." Leela's eyes flicked to the floor, then to the darkened windows. "No one ever helps, not really." He wanted to ask again who those men were, why she was running, why she'd ended up in a dingy laundromat at midnight with silk around her neck and terror in her bones, but something told him to wait. She wasn't ready. Instead, he walked to the back wall and flipped on a single overhead light. A warmer glow spread across the machines, chasing away the harsh shadows. "Sit," he said gently. "You look like you're about to collapse." She hesitated, always hesitating, then took a seat on one of the molded plastic chairs. The hum of dryers filled the silence like a steady heartbeat. Jack leaned against the folding table across from her. "Start wherever you can. I'm not going to force anything." Leela pressed her hands together, knuckles white. Her voice trembled with every word. They've been following me since this afternoon. I tried hiding in a cafe, a pharmacy, even a subway station, but they kept finding me. Why you? Her throat worked. She opened her mouth, closed it, then quietly, because of who my family is. Jack frowned. She didn't look like someone connected to anything dangerous, until he remembered the scarf, the fabric too fine for this neighborhood, the ring she wore beneath the grime, the delicate gold crest carved into it. He sat forward. Who are you, Leela? A flash of panic cut through her expression. Please don't make me say it. Before he could respond, thunder cracked overhead, rattling the thin windows. Leela jumped, clutching the edge of her chair as if expecting the world to split open. Jack raised a calming hand. Hey, it's just weather. No, she whispered. Nothing is just anything anymore. A dryer buzzed at the far end of the room, startling them both. The sound gave Jack an idea. He walked to the machine and opened its door, letting a wave of heat spill out. You're freezing, he said. Warm up, you can tell me when you're ready. But Leela didn't move. Her gaze drifted to the entrance again, shadows passing over her eyes like storm clouds. They won't stop, she said. Not until I'm back where they want me. Jack felt the room tilt slightly, as if gravity had shifted. And where is that? He asked. Leela met his eyes for the first time without looking away. Locked behind gates, she whispered, in the house I'm supposed to inherit. Jack felt the air change after she said those words. Not colder, heavier, as if the laundromat had learned something it wasn't supposed to know. The house you're supposed to inherit, he repeated. You mean you're an heiress? Leela flinched at the word. Please don't say it like that. I never wanted any of it. Jack paced slowly, rubbing a hand along his jaw as he tried to make sense of the pieces. An heiress hiding in a laundromat at midnight. Men tracking her through the city. A silk scarf torn at the edge like it had been grabbed in a struggle. All right, he said softly. Start from the beginning. Leela took a shaky breath. My father died 3 months ago, suddenly, too suddenly. Everyone called it a heart attack, but the timing, it wasn't right. Not with the pressure he'd been under, not with the arguments behind closed doors, and then there's the will. Jack pulled a chair closer but didn't sit. He wanted to be near her, not above her. What about the will? It names me sole heir. Everything, the estate, the accounts, the company holdings, it all moves to me when I turn 25. She paused, which was today. Jack stared at her. So those men work for my uncle, she whispered. He's been running the estate since my father died, and he doesn't want me stepping in. He doesn't want anything to change, especially not the parts he's adjusted. Her eyes glistened. I confronted him this afternoon. I told him I knew about the missing funds, the closed-door meetings, the threats against employees who questioned him. I told him I wasn't going to sign the papers he pushed in front of me, papers that would have handed everything to him. Jack felt a cold pulse move down his spine, and then he smiled. Her voice thinned. Then he called for those men, and I knew if I stayed I wouldn't walk out again. The dryers hummed behind them like a soft warning. Rain beat against the windows. Jack tried to keep his voice steady. So you ran? I ran, Leela whispered, but he has eyes everywhere. Drivers, vendors, guards, people who have owed him favors for decades. I kept moving until I found this place. It looked forgotten. I thought maybe I could disappear for a while. Jack lowered himself into the chair beside hers. You don't have to disappear. You need help. I can't involve anyone else. They'll hurt you too. Jack shook his head. Leela, you walked into the wrong laundromat if you were looking for someone who will back off. I'm not leaving you here to be hunted. She stared at him, caught between disbelief and desperate hope. No one's ever said that to me. Well, Jack said, trying to soften the moment, first time for everything. Before she could answer, a faint vibration buzzed from her pocket. She jolted upright, digging out a phone she had silenced earlier. The screen lit her face in pale blue. Jack leaned closer. Who is it? Leela's lips parted. It's my uncle, she whispered. He sent me a message. She turned the screen so Jack could see it. A single sentence glowed there, chilling and calm. You can't hide from blood. Come home. The message hung between them like a threat written in stone. Jack felt his stomach tighten as he read the words again, each one carrying the weight of someone who believed he could reach into any corner of the city and pluck Leela back into the shadows. Leela lowered the phone with trembling hands. He always talks like that, calm, measured, as if nothing can touch him. Jack studied her. Can he track your phone? She looked horrified. I don't know. I didn't think. He stood up fast. Turn it off, now. She fumbled with the screen before powering it down completely. The laundromat dimmed again as if the glow of the device had momentarily illuminated things better left unseen. Jack began pacing, scanning the room as though danger might seep through the vents. If he can track it, they could already be on their way. Leela hugged herself. "I'm sorry. I should have thrown it away hours ago." "It's fine," Jack said, though his voice held tension beneath the calm. "We just need to move. Staying here isn't an option anymore." But Leela didn't stand. She stared at the dirty tile floor, breath shallow, like her courage had collapsed under the weight of the message. "Leela," Jack said, kneeling beside her again, "look at me." She lifted her gaze slowly, reluctantly. "You made it this far. You outran them for hours. You found a place to hide. You fought for your life without anyone in your corner." He paused, letting the truth land softly. "You can keep going." She blinked, tears gathering. "He always wins, Jack, always. I grew up being told the world bends for him, that no one questions him, that even the police answer his calls." Jack exhaled slowly. "Then we don't rely on people who answer to him." "What do you mean?" He stood, grabbing his keys and stuffing them into his jacket. "I've got a friend across town. He knows how to disappear people, how to hide things, how to make problems like your uncle's." He paused, searching for the word complicated. Leela hesitated, her fingers tightening around the edges of the chair. "What kind of friend?" "The kind who used to owe me," Jack said simply, "and still trusts me enough not to ask questions." She swallowed. "Is he dangerous?" Jack offered a thin smile, "Only when necessary." Before Leela could respond, a new sound cut through the room. A soft metallic tap. Jack froze. Leela stiffened. Tap, tap, tap. Someone was trying the back door. Jack's pulse surged. The laundromat had two entrances, front and back, and he'd only been watching the front. He moved toward the service hallway quietly, signaling Leela to stay low. She slid off the chair and crouched behind a row of washers, hands pressed over her mouth. Jack edged to the corridor, peering around the corner just as the tapping stopped. Silence. Then a whisper of footsteps. Someone was inside. Jack backed away, heart pounding. He reached for anything he could use as a weapon, and his hand landed on a metal broom handle. Not ideal, but better than nothing. He motioned to Leela. She didn't move. Her eyes widened with sudden clarity as though she recognized something Jack didn't. "Jack," she mouthed silently. "That's not one of them." Before he could ask how she knew, a figure stepped into the light. Not one of the men from before, someone else. Someone she clearly knew. And the moment their eyes met, Leela's face drained of all color. The man who stepped into the dim glow of the laundromat lights wasn't dressed like a pursuer. No black coat, no hardened stare, no measured menace. He looked tired. Rain dripped from his hair. His suit jacket clung to his frame. His breathing was uneven, as if he'd been running for blocks. "Leela," he said quietly, "you need to come with me." Jack raised the broom handle like a warning. "Not happening." The man lifted both hands. "Please, I'm not here to hurt you, either of you." Leela rose slowly from behind the washers. Her voice trembled with shock. "Matthew?" Jack glanced between them. "You know him?" Leela nodded once, slowly, painfully. "He's my cousin." The man Matthew gave Jack a weary look. "And if I wanted to turn her in, she'd already be in the back of a car. I've been trying to reach her all night." Jack didn't lower the broom, but he eased a step back. "Then start talking." Matthew ran a hand through his damp hair. "Your uncle sent those men, Leela, I know, but I didn't come on his behalf. I came to get you away from him." Leela shook her head. "Why would you help me? You've been at his side since the funeral. You've backed every decision he made." "I had to," Matthew said. "If I pushed back, he would have cut me out, kept me away from anything that might expose him. I needed to earn his trust long enough to see how deep this went." Jack crossed his arms, voice sharp. "And how deep does it go?" Matthew looked down at the tiled floor as if ashamed. "He didn't just redirect money. He didn't just threaten people. He forged documents, pressured board members, lied to investigators, and your father, Leela," his voice faltered. "He didn't die of natural causes." Leela staggered back as if struck. No, that can't." "I saw the files," Matthew whispered. "Your uncle had him isolated, kept him away from doctors he didn't control, and the night he died," Matthew looked at her with heartbreak, "it wasn't a heart attack." Leela covered her mouth, tears breaking free. "He killed my father." Jack stepped beside her, steadying her before she collapsed. She tremblingly leaned into him, her breath shattering. Matthew approached but didn't touch her. "Leela, I didn't know until recently, I swear it, and when I realized he was going to remove you the moment you refused those papers, I couldn't just—" his voice cracked. I couldn't let him finish what he started. Jack softened his stance. So what's the plan? Matthew took a shaky breath. I have a car nearby, not one he knows about. If we move now, I can get you both to someone who will actually protect you. Someone outside his reach. Who? Jack asked. A federal investigator your father trusted. Matthew's eyes steadied with resolve. Someone who's been waiting for proof, and for you, Leela. Leela wiped her tears, trembling but lifting her chin. If we do this, it ends with him exposed, publicly. Matthew nodded. It ends with him losing everything. Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. Then let's finish it. For the first time that night, Leela exhaled with a fragile kind of hope. She looked between the two men, one who had found her by accident and one who had come to save her by choice. All right, she whispered. Let's go. They stepped into the storm together, three silhouettes against a city that finally felt like it might let her breathe again. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and visit the channel for more real-life stories.